violence in our society. When I say violence, what you hear is crime. You know, crime is a symptom of a deeper problem, and that is the belief that the only way to resolve conflict is by the application of physical force, physical violence. And it is something that has, I hate to say this, but it is becoming ingrained in our culture. And that's not who we are. That's not what we see ourselves as. We don't see ourselves as a violent people. But unfortunately, it is becoming a feature of our society and our culture. And that is why we have put in place a commission to study this whole issue of violence. And I now have the preliminary report, and that will give the government a good strategic direction in how to treat with violence. Now, let me say this to you, give you a perspective on violence. Jamaica has wrestled with several forms and types of violence before. One of them would be political violence. You would agree with that? Yes, you remember political violence was a major issue in Jamaica. But with political will, leadership from both political parties, we were able to overcome that by putting in place a proper electoral system. I've used this to say to you that it is not impossible for Jamaica to deal with violence today. It requires social consensus, political consensus, leadership, and resources. And I'm committed to doing this. So the first thing to do is to have a comprehensive study of the problem. We have achieved that step. The second thing now is to take that study and develop a social consensus around it, a social understanding. Because there are some cultural things that are going to be difficult to confront and deal with. Corporal punishment, intimate partner violence. You know, some people believe that if the man don't beat you, he don't love you. Can you imagine? There are some people who hold that view. And I'm really hoping that by now, that's an outdated view. You can't just assume that there aren't people who don't believe in violence. You have to have this social dialogue and conversation to build a consensus. So we're going to be doing that shortly. And then we will have to pass legislation, put in place programs, and the necessary enforcement. But it is my commitment that we will have a significant reduction in violence generally in the society.